Morning, all my YouTubers, all my union workers, all my blue collar workers. Hope everybody having a good day out there. No, I ain't been really making that many videos lately. I just been just working, doing the thing. So I was thinking about some things. I've been going through some things, so I figured there's something I should bring up that might be beneficial to anybody that's thinking about getting into trades or just starting out in the trades, and that's finances. Now, I'm not trying to give financial advice. I'm not any kind of banker or any kind of financial guru or anything like that, but there's some things that I went through that I think if somebody were to get into the trades and they kind of had an idea of it, it might help them out in the long run. So one thing is, when you get into the trades as an apprentice, you start an apprenticeship program, you're not going to be making as much money as a journeyman. You're not going to be making as much money as, me, I'm a little bit older, so I was already working somewhere. I took a pay cut to come be an apprentice. I knew in the long run it was gonna pay off. I'd make more money in the long run, but I didn't really understand how much the pay cut was gonna affect me, just because I already had some things. So I already owned a house, I already had a nice car, and then I had actually just bought my house. So I only had my house for not even a year. And I figured that I had, at the place I was working, I was stuck paying it in my 401k, paying for health care that I'd never used. So it's like I was trying to get out of that. I figured going into the union apprenticeship, it wouldn't really affect me, or I would be saving money. Even though I was taking a pay cut on the check, I figured I wouldn't have them things coming out of my paycheck, and it would equal out, and I would make the same, if not a little bit more. Well, that didn't really work out. So first year, I ended up going probably about $30,000 into debt. And that was basically because just living stuff, man. Like, if you own a house, you're going to kind of figure it out. If you don't own a house and you're thinking about a house, there's just some things to know, is that maintenance and upkeep on a house, like, stuff's not cheap. So my first winter, my heater went out, so I ended up having to replace the heater for a furnace and a hot water heater. That was about $11,000 I had to pay. So I got lucky. I got 36-month no interest financing, but it was a big bill every month. It was like $300 a month to pay that off, and that was pretty much all my extra money. So then things got tight. So when things got tight, any little thing, like something happened to my car, whatever, you need a car to get to work, so that was a priority. So little things like that would just keep adding up. And now I'm a third year, I'll be a fourth year in June. I've done everything I can to make as much money. Like, I take all the overtime I can get. I started a second job. I've been working the second job for 2 years now. So I've been working 7 days a week for 2 years. Take all the overtime I can get. I went down to a training center, practiced my welding to get it good enough to pass a weld test. Got on with a shop that let me take a weld test. So I'm making a year ahead in pay because I got hired on as a welder. So I've done everything I could, but I still keep fighting that same debt that I incurred my first year. Just because things happen in life, man. Like, if you got a little bit of debt and the finances get tight, like, there's going to be unexpected stuff that pops up it's going to happen no matter what, if you're in debt or out of debt. But if you're already in debt, it just makes it kind of compounds the situation because you're already trying to pay off something. So just some key advice I would have for anybody that's getting into the trades: if you already own things, if you're already working somewhere, just be prepared that when you start out, you're not going to make as much money. Like, that's just facts. And you're going to get a raise every year. Now, every local is going to be different. I don't know how they structure it, but what really was getting me is that for us up here, we do a week of school every month. We have the summers off. We don't have school during the summer, but the rest of the year we go to school for a week. We don't get paid for that week, so that's going to be a week you don't get a paycheck. So then trying to manage all your finances around 1 week that you don't get paid, that really made the situation worse for me when I was already in debt and making less money. So now I'm making more money, but it's just because, like, life just doesn't stop because you're making more money. Like, you're gonna keep trying to pay these things off, and the way the credit card companies are, like, they structure their payments to where you're never going to get ahead. It's not beneficial for them to see you get ahead. You really got to pay a lot more than your minimum payment to get ahead. So that's just something to keep in mind. Also, in the construction industry, I've been blessed. I haven't really been laid off a lot, but there is people that do get laid off, and sometimes you're laid off for a while, man. And you can sign up for unemployment. Well, unemployment doesn't pay as much as your check. So I think right now, if I got an unemployment check for a week, it's like $750 or something like that. And then since I work 2 jobs, I work a weekend job to make ends meet. Well, if I get a paycheck on that week that I'm trying to sign up for unemployment, I'm not going to get the unemployment because I'm working another job. So they don't take that into consideration. Also, the fact that you're an apprentice, like, there's a couple things that I always talk good about the union, and I'm feel blessed to be in the apprenticeship program. But there's some things that I really don't care for as far as the apprenticeship situation. Now, as an apprentice, it seemed like a lot of people always look down at you. Like, not necessarily that they, not necessarily, I don't know how to phrase it, but it's not that they look at you as less, but a lot of people just think that since you're an apprentice, you don't know anything. They don't take into consideration that you had any kind of prior life before becoming an apprentice. If you're a first year, they think you know nothing. If you're a second year, they think you know barely anything. If you're a third year, they think they know more than you. So anytime you be trying to better yourself or get yourself in a better situation, if you get slapped down on something, because you will, they're always going to say, "Oh, you're an apprentice. You don't have no say in that." That doesn't really, like, all the union brotherhood stuff kind of goes out the window when it comes to that. As far like I'm gonna get screwed next year. I'm not gonna get a raise probably because I'm getting rotated, and there's no guarantee that that I'm gonna be able to take a weld test at the next shop. So I might get stuck making 4th year pay 2 years in a row. Now, people, when I bring that up to people, it's not, I don't really get the response I would expect. Like, that's messed up that you're getting screwed over. You're not gonna get a raise. A lot of times I get, well, you're an apprentice, so you don't necessarily get to weld anyway. So that, I mean, that's a little bit disheartening. I've had a couple times when I thought about, do I really want to do this, just because the attitude that people have towards apprentices, they really make it hard to get ahead if you're trying to overachieve. It seems like they don't want to see overachievers. They want to see people that are just going to stay in their place, and when it comes, it comes. For me, that's unacceptable. Now, I'm going to say this as well, like, it's not just necessarily that, oh, the apprenticeship's bad, everybody just looks bad at apprentices. I'm still in a good situation. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm making good money. I'm learning things. I have opportunities that maybe some other people don't get because of my mentality. And maybe part of it is because before all this, like, obviously anybody that's watched my channel knows my history a little bit. I did 20 years in prison. I was a drug dealer, gangbanger. So coming from that background, I'm used to making money. Like, to me, it was always about make more money. It was never about saving money, because selling drugs, like, you could wake up in the morning with $0 and you go to sleep at night and you got $50,000. Like, that's real life. I didn't sell a small amount of drugs. I sold a lot amount of drugs. So the money situation, financial situation for me, I'm not necessarily the greatest at it because I don't know anything about budgeting. I just know make more money. And that's something I've been struggling with. So I just feel like it's something that needs to be said, man, that, you know, apprenticeship is definitely a great opportunity. It's a good chance to get your life turned around. There's some downfalls with it. One of them is the financial situation. You really got to figure out how you're going to make it through the whole program, because until you're a journeyman, like, everything's up in the air, man. You may or may not get a raise one year because of something, or say you don't pass your, I've heard stories of guys that didn't pass their steam test, didn't get their steam license, and they're still an apprentice. They didn't pass it for, I don't know, three years. I heard a guy yesterday, talking about a guy that they was in the class with him 3 years ago, and he still hasn't passed his high pressure steam test. He's still apprentice. He's a 5th year apprentice for 3 years because he couldn't pass the test. Now, I've seen some guys that have passed the test that I consider not that bright. So I know it's doable. It's just a matter of, you got to put the time in, and you got to study, and you got to figure out. I'm not a great test taker. I'm not the smartest person in the world either, but you really got to put into it and do what you can to get out of the apprenticeship and turn out as a journeyman. Like, that's the end result. That's the end goal. You got to be willing to take a little bit of sacrifice along the road to get there, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I don't know, man, just a little something to think about. Also, I mean, if anybody doesn't have a house and you're looking to get a house, one thing I tell you, I was just trying to go through a refinance, trying to pay down some credit cards with the refinance, and they tried to screw me over. They was trying to trick me into going into a higher interest rate than I had to. And if you buy a house, like, there's a first time home buyers grant. I got that. Now with that, they had told me, the mortgage company told me that you can't refinance for a year. So that was back in 2021. It's 2025 now. I'm thinking I can do the refinance. It would have helped me out a little bit. And come to find out, you can't refinance for 5 years with that first time home buyers grant. Or if you refinance, they got to pay that down payment off. So if I wait another year, that's $8,600 that I don't have to pay back. But if I try to refinance right now, they want me to take out a loan on that. So if you get to buying a house, read all the paperwork. Make sure you understand what they're talking, because these financial people are slick, man, and they ain't doing nobody no favors. End of the day, nobody got your back but you. So take that into consideration. And I mean, it's not hard. We can do this. Everybody out here got the same opportunities as me, if not more. Just some things you just really got to do your due diligence on it and really do some research on, because like I be bumping my head on the wall trying everything, and some things work, some things don't. So I just want to put some stuff out there so that other people can see from my experiences, good and bad, and make a informed decision on things, so that they don't end up making the same mistakes I made, because I ain't done everything right. Overall though, end of the day, it is what it is. Everything's gonna work out the way it's supposed to, and I'm still confident that the trades is the way to go. If you're trying to make six figures, you're trying to have a pension and health care and dental and all that stuff taken care of, and have an actual career that you can be proud of, 100% trades is where it's at. But along the way, just know you're still gonna face some struggles. Like, it's not just because you get in, that's not the end of the problems. Like, there's some things you got to change about yourself if you want to make it right. And I'm kind of a prime example of that, because I'm not like everybody else like that I work with, to be honest with you. Most people I work with, they come from a completely different background. They had people in their lives that taught them different things. Most of these guys all hunt and fish and do all that stuff. I'm from the city. I don't do none of that stuff. So we don't really have a lot to talk about on them issues. But they're doing all right. I'm going to do all right. I'm going to do it my own way. I'm gonna do it city style. But no, this is definitely a good trade, man. I definitely feel like I'm learning a lot of things, and the amount of money I make is definitely more than I was making before. It's just, if you don't start right away, like, to be honest, one thing I wish I would have did is I wish I would have started a second job as soon as I got into the trade, because I probably wouldn't have went as far in debt. Like, the further you get in debt, the harder it's gonna be to get out. So if you can circumvent that, and if it feels like, oh yeah, I'm making all this money now as an apprentice and it's only gonna get better, don't get comfortable, and don't try to spend beyond your means, because it's real easy to spend it, but to pay it all back, it takes a lot longer. So with that, hope everybody have a good day. Hope somebody learns something from this, and I hope don't nobody make the same mistakes I made. Let's all win, man. Let's win faster, better, and it's gonna be a good day.